group stages. Let me change it so you can see what's going on, because the draft has begun. I'm ODPixel here with Gods. We're ready for Game 2 now between Faceless and VGJ. The bans have begun so far. Same as what we saw in Game 1, apart from the Sentinel. Now taken out from Faceless, but we did see them ban out the Abaddon in Game 1. And VGJ, they will, of course, once again target Ice's heroes. So taking out the Timbersaw, wouldn't be too surprised if we see another Ice hero being banned out as well.
Yep. Last game it was the
Nyx Assassin, yeah.
Yep. And Faceless banned Magnus, was it?
Magnus was in their first two in Game 1. Yeah, they've switched out the Magnus for the center. Understandably so. Well, actually, no, I say that. No, sorry, it's RTK them. Yeah, well,
I think Game 1 Faceless
RTK
banned
played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Faceless. You're right. Faceless banned it.
VG banned Nyx, but this time around Magnus banned by VG just because they probably see it as the scary hero. They don't want to verse it.
Well,
and first pick is Faceless, so they first pick the Earth Spirit, leave Nyx if Vici want it, but Vici's, I don't know, they used to play a lot of Nyx, not sure if they still necessarily will.
And I guess Earth Spirit as well, I mean, you were saying the other day as well, it seems like XY really stepped up his game on the hero, and it's certainly become a very valuable asset for Faceless to have.
Yep, just pick Earth Spirit, seems like a no-brainer for how they run things. It's one of those things where he doesn't play it to the insane level of like a Jax, where teams are going to ever ban it. He plays it well, but it does feel like if you wanted to verse Faceless and put a player out of their comfort zone, you could ban. I feel like it's almost worth the ban against Faceless sometimes, just because it changes up the game when you have a hero other than Earth Spirit for like a player like that who's so used to having it every game. Does mean maybe you have to give Ice a Magnus or a Timbersaw, which is, of course, the downside.
Well, VGJ not changing anything here. Had a lot of success with that in game when we saw aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess he got good XP, of course. Was in that solo lane, pretty much him against Ice's Nature's Prophet. Did get good farm as well, really. They've kind of just traded farm really in that lane, and we saw him obviously make some good appearances at the team fights, and just because of the opening that he had, with what the Midas getting a really good timing on Desolator, Armlet, AC, he was pretty, well, very hard really for Faceless to do anything about when they went to try and pick him off.
That's weird. I remember when I arrived here and I was coming from the airport with Fogden, and it was one of those things where it's talking about Dota, and it was like, what's like the carry pool right now? It feels like the carry pool like of good heroes is very small, and I think that's why Lifesteal's constantly being first picked, because it's one of the true carries that seems very consistently good. You're always going to have a good vehicle. Like most of the offlaners are Blink Initiators, if not the offlaners. We're seeing some 4-position heroes, so it does feel like we're in this weird place where the carry pool is somewhat small, at least as far as like the stable run the many game carries. It seems like it's just Lifestealer and Jug almost. TB's picked up early on as a counter to the Lifesteal, and again, I think it's a big part of this is like the carry pool's not is small. So if you went into the second stage and TB's banned, you're like, well, what do we play against Lifestealer now? We're going to pick some like Morphling or something. Like we're seeing, anytime I feel like I see an Anti-Mage or a Morphling or some kind of different carry, I feel like it's never like what the team really wants for their draft.
No, it's more reactive pick.
Yeah. Lone Druid used to be there, but he's been removed from the carry pool now with all his nerfs.
It's weird. I'd say one hero as well that's really kind of dropped off. It's been the Luna, hasn't it? I mean, obviously there was that ST Luna phase, but then the nerfs came through. People were still confident in running the Luna, but have we seen any Luna?
I've seen 0 myself at DAC. But
didn't we see one game? Did we have one game that we casted with Luna?
Oh, I don't think so. But
I seem to.
Maybe you're watching
I'm dreaming of eclipses. I remember that eclipse.
Huh.
Maybe that. But if there has been, there's not been a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the ones that was kind of a safe pick and one that people were worried about, but not at all now.
Yeah, a lot of nerfs to the
gone.
hero.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at some of the Dota buff stats. I'm getting. Where do I find?
It's go time on the left. Maybe if you just set it to be like this week, I guess.
There we go. This week
should be good. Let's have a look. How much Luna did we have? Did we have
Spirit
any Luna?
most picked, no surprises. Luna.
Where's Luna? It's got to be right down.
Luna. No results.
No results. So yeah, no games. You're correct.
Yeah, 70. Yeah. We've only had 75 heroes picked. It looks like.
That's not bad for one day of Dota,
yeah,
though.
Not bad.
Well, one day and a bit now. But yeah, Luna totally off.
There's one Spirit Breaker, only one Meepo. There's been some Meepo, and everyone bans Meepo against Empire, but it doesn't seem like there's any other scary Meepo teams.
Oh, no, okay, there was one Luna.
What?
Was that in the game that we did? We lost the game. Did we do a Luna game?
It has a 1.17 KDA, so it wasn't a big
It was a game where it got trashed.
We did cast some stomps. How do you find this game?
Try that one.
Here we go.
What was that do? No, we
OG
didn't.
Wings.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
It was
so Wings ran
Wings
it when
ran
they
it. Yeah.
got stomped by OG.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, if only Wings are picking it, you know, it's out of the meta.
2 Bloodseekers even. Yeah, we're seeing Bloodseeker come into the carry role. You know,
Yeah, it's easy Bloodseeker. Did he play it twice? Was he the one to play it?
No, No Tail played it one game.
No Tail,
that was
you're
the
right.
win where it was a big comeback against Faceless themselves.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Faceless had a really good start that game. We looked at that game, was like, what? It was like 14-2 or something at the point, and it was like, okay, Faceless are winning this, and then suddenly it's like, okay, OG just doing OG things where they're able to deal with a lot of
Spectres.
games.
Like Faceless played a Spectre game.
They did, didn't they?
And again,
Yeah,
it feels like these series is being picked up because people are like, what do we play as a carry now?
Weaver
used to be good. It's still like all right, I think.
It seems that seems again. I'd say as one of those carries that you can fit into a lot of different situations.
Troll is probably one of the better meta carries right
yes,
now.
Troll's
He's
rising
emerging
up.
as like probably the new era of safe lane carries.
What else we got? Venge. We've seen a few teams.
Yep.
Playing the core Venge.
Alk, God, I mean that's like a carry normally in the mid lane, but it's
Alk's the highest in a pick, but the worst win rate in the high picked heroes, isn't it? Yeah.
Jug's pretty bad at 36%.
Rubik's pretty low as well. 12 games, 41%.
Yeah, I think it's like a support though. It's hard to like read too much into support win
True.
rates.
Yeah.
Like when it's like
very
a
dependent on the
5-position
team.
hero,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a Warlock win rate. I mean, if Warlock win rate's like 25%, I'm like, well, is it really because Warlock's a bad hero?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Ospirit's 71%, which
that's
is
pretty insane. For
definitely
14
good.
matches, that's very high.
That's
71.
That is always. I mean, this hero just remains good regardless what happens.
I mean, I guess kind of a lot of good Spirit players come from China as well, don't they?
Yeah, we've seen, and some of the losses have been Faceless, I
Western
guess. I mean, yeah, this everyone has a good Spirit player.
Well, yeah, who are the losses from on the Spirit? Who's been losing with Spirit?
XY
Is there one team that's been like a big culprit? There's all the losses around.
Faceless have probably 2 or 3 losses on the hero.
It does too. So yeah, Faceless. Newbie lost with it. Newbie lost
Faceless
with it.
won this game here.
EG lost with it. Okay, so 2 losses from Newbie. Oh wait, sorry. No, wait, look, it's in.
Empire won here.
Wait, is it the colours that mean it?
The bolded name won, I think. On the
but it says it's in a corridor of 1 and lost.
Oh no, you're.
I think that's Radiant Dye.
Yeah.
That's just Radiant Dye, the green and red. Yeah.
It looked like one of the names are bolded, but all the ones on the left are bolded. So losses here. Yeah, Faceless, Newbie again.
And then
EG lost one. VGJ lost one. Yeah, it's a mix of losers.
A mix. No one's a.
No one culprit being
all across the board.
No one shit Earth Spirit player.
Lena, I think, as well. One of the surprises for me.
It's kind of fun to see Lena, though. I don't mind. The respawn's a bit, kind of abusable, but...
It is, but then as people point out, the quicker you respawn, the quicker you can potentially die. So it can work both ways, depending on the flow of the game. So far in this draft, though, Batrider will be the pickup for ROTK. Faceless immediately going for that Vengeful Spirit answer. And VGJ, they will get their hands on the Storm Spirit. We saw last game Jabs have a very good opening and a very good mid game. Wasn't able to close it out though, as Freeze had the superior play at the end with the Tinker. And this time we'll see what Freeze can do on the Storm. And of course what Jabs will do in response, a lot of very strong mids being banned out. In fact, by Faceless themselves, they target 2 of Freeze's hero pool with that Tinker and Ember Spirit ban. So the question is what Jabs looks to pick up for himself this game.
He's a good Invoker player, but Invoker TB seems pretty greedy as far as getting all that farm against a team that's got Bat Lifestealer ganking you, so I'm not sure that's your best bet. Other Jabs heroes, tough. Ember Tinker were 2 of his, so those are both taken.
What about the OD? Does he dabble with the OD sometimes?
Yeah, dabbles with the OD. Could be a better option. Gives you a decent save against someone who gets lassoed. You've already got the Vent swap, but...
against that. Also, just to kite up the lifesteal, looks to go on a target, defensively astral them, and suddenly, the rage duration is wasted, essentially. They're going to go for the Alk.
Yeah. One of those heroes, like, we saw, I think there was a post like, Alk picked like 10 or 11 times as a 20% win rate, but it still feels like anytime I see an Alk, it's like such a big threat, and the hero you have to always address. It doesn't. Some of those losses, it doesn't feel like the Alk was like a failed pick.
No, I mean as we mentioned, Alk's win rate pretty abysmal at the moment. So a lot of teams struggling to make it work. I mean, it feels like most games we do see the farm kick off for the Alchemist, but that does not guarantee you a win as much as it has done in previous metas, previous patches. Now,
I think one of the funny things about Alk picks is it's also like when you feel like your draft has gone a bad direction, you get to this 4th pick, and you're like, man, they just got stormed. Like, there's no good mid heroes left. I don't like how... If you get to a point where you don't like your draft, it seems like, well, Alchemist is the pick to get to just pick when you have a bad draft.
Yeah, I mean...
like, we've got a bad draft. Let's pick Alchemist and hope it works.
I mean, having Alch and Terrorblade, it's a lot of farming going on, isn't it? And there's going to be a period where it feels like it's going to be very little fighting, where Black's not going to want to join the fights, and Jabs as well. He's going to be a bit like, well, I need to get farm done with the Radiance and so.
So who's Ice? He needs a pick-off hero, space-creating hero.
Well, we got again because he's left it to the last pick here. Nuts. He's going to have a very small pool to pick from for Ice.
Is there Clock is not the best matchup against Lifestealer.
Oh, what can he do?
But it might be just something you've got to go for. Tide's another hero that takes a lot of farm though, but they may just play a greedy game. Tide's a little bit better.
Ooh, the Ice off-lane Brew.
Interesting. Not really a pick-off hero though. It seems like more a hero that can have a strong laning
and
stage.
There's the Tide you talked about, VGJ. I mean, I guess you said what the off-lane pool had been quite targeted in the bans. And down to Tide and Panda.
That's Bat as a support then.
Yeah, it must be, I guess.
We're just going to see, unless we see some super greedy jungle. I mean, the
sure,
jungle is going to come from ROTK on Tide, actually, and you put Bat in, like, the off-lane, but...
It could, yeah, because ROTK does like to pick up the Talon and head straight away from the lane.
Yeah, FY playing that probably 4th-position Bat Rider, and I think they see Alk TB, and they're like, we can go greedy, because they got Alk TB. Even Brewmaster's not a hero that's going to be super disruptive that you have to worry about. I don't quite understand right now what the Brewmaster's looking to achieve this game. We'll see. It's kind of annoying here with the evasion for Lifestealer. It doesn't necessarily get beaten that hard down by a Lifestealer, but I also feel like perhaps with the push, like he just frontlines for the TB and you kind of push down towers. If you can get like a good early, like a more mid-game timing, like around the Alk having his Radiance, Manta, Octarine, and TB gets a few items. Brew just needs like a Blink Vlads, get the team items, but still feels hard to execute and very greedy from Faceless.
I guess maybe another bit of an answer to the Bat. I mean, what we're using the Wim Panda to send him up if he's trying to look for initiations in the team fights, or I guess just to take one of them straight out. You know, if you can get Lifestealer up in the air before the Rage, suddenly you're a man down for a fair bit of time in these engagements. We'll see. As we do get ourselves here into Game 2. Game 1, of course, if you missed it, going the way of VGJ. And Terrorblade once again will be the play for Black. We saw him pull it out in Game 1. Got good farm, but just wasn't able to make too much of a good use to it at the end of it all because of the position VGJ had managed to climb themselves to by the time he turned up to the fights. And VGJ and Faces both with a little bit something different on the offlane. Panda coming out for Ice. And we are going to get to see the treat of the good old ROTK Tidehunter for VGJ. FY is going to be rolled in upon here. XY looking for the body block. Faceless.
No Firefly, but...
Yeah, won't be able to get the control off though to get him nonetheless. So he's going to be A-OK FY.
ROTK. No Iron Talon, but...
Okay.
What's this build? Goes for the Quelling Blade over the Stout Shield. Well, I guess you're tied, so you don't need the
you don't need the Stout,
But... Yeah, not going for the Iron Talon or like even a Ring of Protection seems like, hey, you're going to get right click, get a Ring of Protection. But and if you're going to go for the jungle farm, you go for like the full Iron Talon. But I guess you can still jungle just with the Quelling Blade if you want to. Anchor Smash Quelling Blade is still fine, even without the Iron Talon. So I guess it's kind of like a flexible build by him.
It certainly could seem to be one of those games where we see both safe laners getting space, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Black's going to have space up top, especially if ROTK does look to head early on into the side jungle. And aggressive down bottom. I mean, Ice is going to be there. I mean, I guess the missed chance is going to get annoying once a few levels are there on the Panda, but the backup's there from Fenrir. It's going to be quite hard for Ice to get aggressive onto aggressive.
Yep. Seems like, yeah, both times. We'll see what XY can do as far as being a Nurse Spirit. He's probably job number 1 is zone the Tide out of the lane. Job number 2 is going to be like chase him around the jungle a bit. It does seem like they actually want to contest the top a bit. FY is coming up here to join with the old Tidehunter.
Interesting. Well, so Ice is going to go straight away and pull that first creep wave right round to his half of the map so he can farm it safely. Get the XP from it. Here come the creeps. Back to my tower, so I'll get a good bit of boost to kick off the lane.
Look what VGJ is doing with the life steal. It's not only they're going to farm
max
this
efficiency.
Yeah, they'll get the neutral camp and the creep wave, assuming he can get those last hits. And it looks like he missed like 1 or 2 of the dire creeps, but he got the neutral itself, so that's good XP and farm.
This top lane, as you said, it's a decision to keep both of them up here, FY and RTK. It could certainly cause some issues for Black, but at the same time, we saw how in game 1, where they may slow him out down at the start, Black will have the chance to catch back up in farm. That's for sure. It's just a question of how much RTK himself can get from this. Nuts in the neighborhood as well as XY. And that will leave this 1v1 in the mid lane to pretty much stay like that. Similar to the first game, we didn't really see too many heavy rotations towards the mid lane from either team in the laning stage. And at the moment, even CS really between the two of them.
Yep, seems like a let the Alk free farm and we'll deal with him later kind of scenario. And not necessarily a bad approach by any means. It's kind of like we've got 2 options with the Alk, which is try and pressure him a ton in the early game, or just gank him around like some of your timings, like around the 10-minute mark. Slow down that Radiance. I mean, you can even let him get to the Radiance if you then have good ganking options to just slow down his farm with the Radiance. He becomes a pretty nice kill when he's ahead on farm and you kill him. Guess what? You're getting a lot of gold going your way because of that. So definitely similar to like a hero like Meepo, where you get super ahead on levels. Got to be careful about getting picked off when you're the lead farmer in the game.
Freeze back to the shrine. Jabs. Grabs himself the bottle. He's going to be able to keep himself topped up, and of course one of those bit of benefits now where we see one mid laner still with a shrine at their availability.
Yeah, he's with the bottle able to constantly heal himself up, find bounty runes too. Almost worth missing a couple CS mid lane just to grab yourself a bounty rune at this point. And yeah, not going to see too much action here in this early game, I don't imagine. XY on the Earth Spirit, probably like, man, where can I go? We'll just end up stacking camps as much as he can for his team. So yeah, that's at least for now. Stack a camp, then try and figure out where you can be annoying. Similarly, VG Gaming, FY stacking camps for his team, so both teams going for the early stacks and the greedy plays.
Up top, the pressure that RTK is putting on, it's keeping Black a little bit behind aggressive. Aggressive having the better time down on his bottom lane as Ice seeming to not be able to do too much to stop this. No points in that Drunken Haze. Going for the point in the Brawler and maxing out the crush as it is, the clap.
Yeah, he's done a good job pulling waves from behind, being a little bit annoying to at least get himself farm and XP in a lane where he may have gotten zoned a bit by the Warlock if he wasn't careful. So he has played the lane well so far.
Top lane RTK in trouble there with a magic missile and roll through from XY. Damage from Black more than enough. And to absolutely what you kind of expect to see them pull off with this TB. Has that 2 points, the Metamorphosis, wants to make use of it. And with good rotation from the supports, it's an easy kill for Faceless. Yeah,
good kill to get. You want to, again, use Metamorphosis when you've got it, and Tyber's getting way too much of that. He was contesting last hits and denying creeps underneath the tier 1 tower. You can't let him get away with those kind of a plays, so making sure they get the kill with the TB and hitting a good timing with that level 2 Venge, level 2 Earth Spirit, so they've made sure that ROTK wasn't able to like TP out or something.
As you down on this bottom, Ice will start to have to be even more careful with the phase boots complete on aggressive. Definitely chances for aggressive to chunk into him if he gets the chance. Mid lane FY hanging around, just eyes on Freeze. Has the backup if he gets gone on by XY.
Looks like Jabs used that illusion rune he got earlier to stack some camps because he had 2 double stacks in his jungle, which must have been some illusion rune shenanigans because I didn't see him going to stack those camps, and that's a really nice chunk of early gold going his way. Nice little bit of play, and FY.
Looking to be in trouble here with the Boulder Smash. He's going to be going down. Came across, spotted out Ice and tried to play around with him for a bit, but XY in the neighborhood. Make sure the Faceless, they got the numbers advantage and they take the kill. Top lane, look how aggressive RT. He's just waltzing around the tower top. He's back in, contesting the farmer Black. Knows that.
Yeah, once you see that Earth Spirit on the map, you feel a bit
space,
safer. Yeah, these 2 hero combo isn't going to kill him, and more importantly, Metamorphosis is still down. Very, very long cooldown on that spell, so very freed up lane for him for the time being. And yeah, both teams farming. Storm's had kind of a free farm lane. Alka's farmed more in the jungle than he has in mid lane probably, but ultimately that's just because of the nature of farming faster there. So Both players just kind of accepting their fate that the other will free farm, and those first couple of rotations will be the deciding factor. So this is where I think if you're FY, you're like, well, we're letting him free farm. My Blink Dagger timing gets more important. I'm the vehicle, one of the vehicles for the Life Stealer. Storm can definitely act as one, but he's also one of the key pick-off heroes that they want to try and time their smoke movements around. So he's going to, I think, rightfully play super. He needs to just jungle up his Blink Dagger as fast as possible now. Let ROT, even if ROTK dies a couple of times in the offlane, it's worth it to create space for the Bat's Blink. Assuming ROTK is going for like a mech first over Blink, but I want to say that's probably the best bet. Just tank up as a Tide and let your Bat be the initiator.
We saw towards the top XY headed over, all of course under the watchful eyes here of this war from VGJ. So RTK knows what's up. FY, D coming back up to back him up in case anything goes down. Black has Metamorphosis. Faceless would love to try and make a go onto the Tide. XY looking for the angle from the sidelines. There's the setup. Magic Missile into the roll. FY, can he do enough to turn it around? And he looks like he can, just with his Firefly run down onto XY, forcing the Earth Spit away. Still gets the Boulder Smash out, but it doesn't allow Black enough control to really hammer into ROTK. And FY with the presence and the preparation ready for that play from Faceless.
Yep. Metamorphosis used though, so perhaps something. If you're Tide, you're thinking just, all right, wait for that Metamorphosis to go down, and then once again go back on the offensive. Start contesting farm a lot. He's trying to be a bit greedy here and finish off his arcane boots, but probably just needs to back off and not take too much damage. But once he has arcane boots and TB does not have the range form, this lane gets pretty challenging.
It certainly seems to keep this necessity as well for Faceless to consistently have at least one of their supports up here with Black.
Yeah. So Bruise level 6 online now. We'll see if we can make much out of that, but I don't really feel like it's necessarily going to be a big opening to do so unless he rotates up top, which could be the case because there's a bit of a move coming out from Freeze, and he'll find a quick, easy pick-off.
Oh, very nice movement. And ROTK as well, very close to having that level 6, and with the Ravage, we could certainly expect to see more of those kind of TP reactions come through. Yep. And Black himself needs to be careful. Heading over to the small camp, keeping himself away from the lane for the time being. Aggressive, picks up a haste rune, and
he's stealing runes. He doesn't want out getting them. He knows Alka's a bottle. He's often taking that bottom rune and getting the bounty while he does it, and then farming that jungle camp. So it's this very efficient play where you're just making the most out of everything.
Aggressive will go for a bit of a play onto Ice. Roll 4 from XY. They get the silence.
That stun landed. It would have been all over for Aggressive probably. No rage and the haste rune wearing off, but managed to get out of range of it. And yeah, out in the jungle, farming away. We'll farm up another 3 camps. Very, very fast Radiance game on paper. Hasn't gotten all the bounty runes, which may mean it's a little bit slower than like the Dream. Like 11 minutes, perhaps like one of the faster timings I've seen. I think like a 10:30 Radiance was like the fastest really like ever with an armlet.
There's a big deep wraparound coming from Faceless towards the mid lane. Ice has the ult available. The courier is going to be there, but they're going to focus towards Freeze with a Boulder Smash from XY. Misses. And that will allow Freeze the time to get himself to safety.
Unfortunate miss, as that was a full hero commitment. They were ready to use a Metamorphosis as well if needed, and not finding the kill there. It will be some wasted time.
They want to try and turn it into a kill onto the top lane, though. The movement's continued from Ice. He's looking for RTK. Ravage is there. It could be potential TPs. And, well, RTK not needing to pop Ravage at the moment. Ice will try and chase him down with the Panda Spirits. Is it going to be enough damage? They have the stun into some further setup. He's really sticking around for this Ice. Can he actually finish this off? He might be able to with one more clap. Oh, one more slap, in fact. Gets the crit. Dang. Does manage to kill him, but it will cost Ice his life. So the offlaners trading each other for each other.
It was risky, low percentage play from Ice. Happy to probably walk away with that kill. If Tide timed the Ravage so he couldn't get that like slap off, it would have been worth ravaging probably to save your life there, but you're not in a game where fighting's going on, so Ravages for solo kills is fine, but hey, his team get the kill anyway, so I think it's still, RTK doesn't really care.
I know that, with the ults in mind, RTK still as is, and of course Ice does not have his.
Here.
And indeed, having that ult still, that may just set them up for a chance for a kill. Dragging him back over the Firefly, can't quite get the Sunder. Yeah. He literally started to cast the animation. the damage was there, and absolutely, you know, not blowing the Ravage at the end paid off for him.
Yep. Why it's 2.1k, so the fast blink dagger is happening. It's kind of what I mentioned, I feel like, is key for VG Gaming. When you're laying out free farm, you need to hit a fast, like, mid-game smoke timing where you're strong enough where you can smoke out, have a blink catch hero, find pickoffs, and that's going to be the Bat Rider. So getting him up to that blink dagger as early as possible is going to be crucial.
Interesting as well. I mean, you know, FY, as you mentioned, is going to be getting a great blink dagger timing. ROTK as well has one queued up for himself rather than getting the mecha sorts. I mean, do you feel it's better to have these kind of two routes of initiation, or would you like to see an earlier mech for this man?
I think there's merits to both.
Yeah.
The fast blink is like, hey, we really want to play aggressive around this like 15 to 20 minute stage of the game and find lots of pickoffs. It's kind of suggests they're looking more for pickoffs rather than team fights, and it's less. I think if they could find team fights, they'd take them, but they know the way Faceless is going to play with TB out is going to be split push. So if you want to beat split push, you need blink daggers, you need catch. So the blink first is more a response to Faceless's game plan. VG Gaming, I think if this was like versing another Chinese team that was playing 5-man Dota as well, mech would 100% be the item, but because it's a split push team, it's now TB game, blink is better, at least as a first item.
Well, Faceless straight out onto the tier 1 push with the Metamorphosis. At the same time, VGJ smoked up, Fenrir, Chaotic Offering available, FY of course with that blink pickup ready to reveal it, try and get some good positive action done.
Right, so nice. So considered the ultimate at bottom, but ROTK will slip his way out of there. Yeah, the smoke doesn't look like it's going to necessarily achieve a whole lot. Jabs is farming safely in his secret shop jungle, so no easy find there.
And he's climbed that first big hurdle. Relic money is complete.
Yep.
So this Alk is certainly going to get the starting blocks for what could be a pretty painful game if this Radiance Alk gets out of control.
Yeah, they're circling exactly where he's fine. I think his team, having cleared through the main jungle, are like, what's this Alk up to? And RTK is like, well, guys, he's over here, he's farming. Jabs will stack some Ancients, and that Ancient stack may give him the money he needs to get all the way up to that Radiance now. But VGJ doing a good job. They're pressuring towers. They didn't go for, I think, aggressive earlier, queued up a Midas, which would have been a bit of a greedy approach.
Ooh, and in fact, in the mid lane, VGJ jumping in straight away onto Jabs with the Chaotic Offering as well. They've just got enough damage. They'll bring down Jabs. Can they get anything more? Zipping forward, looking for Nuts. Nuts turns with the Magic Missile. So will fall, FY getting himself a double. They've turned up though. Ice with the ultimate. Freeze, he's got an Invis rune. Can he survive this? It looks like he may just live with the 1 charges. Zips himself away. Is he trying to deny? I mean, I think he'd want to hope to. He actually doesn't end up denying himself to neutrals. They will get the kill as Ice also able to clean up FY as well. Double kill for the Panda. And they did lose Jabs. The fight's not over yet, though. ROTK coming in with a 3-man Ravage, focusing towards Black. The Sunder, again, Black. We saw him yesterday with these last-second Sunders, pulling it off, turning it around to bring down aggressive. And ROTK, oh, he's in trouble as well. Nuts just body blocking him. Has a Magic Missile if necessary. Actually throws it off towards the side as well as they're looking for Fenrir. XY is working towards that one with the help of Jabs as they get the Warlock. They're still on the chase for ROTK. They should have it. Magic Missile back up, and with the clap as well. Faceless absolutely doing it there. May have lost Jabs. They get him back in, though, for a kill, and they also take the overall team fight. Yeah,
that was incredible. He even shows up, and last hits that kill, so gets him up to the Radiance money. It's still a pretty good timing for him, and more importantly, the rest of the team kind of gets some much-needed catch-up farm. The TB wasn't farming all too well, given that he had to create a lot of space for his team. Brewmaster wasn't having a great game by any means in terms of farm, but suddenly he's got a Blink, he's queued up a Midas now, he's got more. I think more than anything is the level progression. They were really struggling in terms of XP growth, but finding some key kills on core heroes there sets them up and puts them in a really good spot.
VGJ, though, not to be deterred, straight back in onto the mid lane. Yep. And we'll look to finish off the tier 1, and they'll take it.
You know, they're in a bit of a tough spot. They really need to apply some pressure. FY's come in and stealing this Ancient stack. He found that double stack there, and he's like, let's take this. Takes the majority of it, leaves just the one big black dragon, and denies that from the Alchemist. So a little bit of work to slow down the Alchemist farm, and he's got that much needed vision around that other jungle. So The vision, it looks like, has been de-warded in the main dire jungle, but at least having vision into the side jungle. And they'll go aggressive once more. Infest bomb, smoke up. This stage of the game, 15 to 20 minutes, where it's going to be constant brawling and fighting from VG Gaming. They don't care. Yeah, they've got 2 big ulti cooldowns, but even when they're on cooldown, they're still strong. They still want pickoffs.
Fenrir has Chaotic Offering in 5 seconds.
Oh, what a bait. The illusion.
Oh. Oh, dear. Not what VGJ wanted. No. Not at all. And in fact, Faceless themselves, they're smoked up in response.
Yeah, they've got Metamorph and Brew Split. Level 2 Brew Split at that, so pretty powerful stuff.
Can they find the fight, though? Fenrir still coming across under the cover of the smoke. Will now be revealed who's going to get the jump. Ice looking for it straight in with the clap. Gets the slow onto Fenrir. Out with the Panda Split. Immediately the Golem's being dropped, but they just rip it to pieces. The Chaotic Offering's gone, and they are looking to set up for more. Ice with the control onto Aggressive, into the initial stun, and in fact with the Magic Missile follow-up, Aggressive, he's going to go down as well. Black picks up a double, and they're not done yet. Further setup there onto ROTK. Ice. Just being incredibly disruptive with these Brew Split plays, enabling everything to happen there. And when you think, you know, in a drafting stage where you dealt with this man, banning out his heroes, he comes out with a Panda, and he is having a brilliant game. 3-1 and 6.
And we're seeing a very different look from Black's Terrorblade. Game 1, it was greedy, farm, let my team create space. This game, he's playing the space creator. This hero actually fights very well. With just a couple small items. Like, he's just had Treads, Aquila, Wand, like all the basic early game carry items. Now he's got a Yasha to go with it. And anytime you've got Metamorphosis, you right-click pretty damn hard. You can kill a lot of heroes with ease, and his team enables him. You've got Venge for the extra bit of bonus damage, the lockdown, same for the Brew for the control. So it's a very good game to fight early with TB, and you need to when you've got this greedy Alk on your side. So I'd like to see how Black has adapted, and he's done so very well this game. And we see Faceless really set up to succeed here. I mean, ultimately, if that smoke gank works and they find like a key core hero, this game's looking very different. I mean, VG Gaming need these rotations to work. That's really their shortcomings. They've got big ultimates in the Tide, the Warlock. They want to use these. They want to find pickoffs. They want to use this Infest Bomb. They can't be playing slow-paced Dota. They have to be finding kills. And
they do have to be careful, though, with these jumps because Faceless are there to react. FY.
Swap save is ready, but how
Where's
fast?
He going to go? He sees jabs, he wants to go for it, he's going to try, but indeed they're ready. They immediately cancel it out with the swap. The zip forward will be there for Freeze, but the stun comes through. They're holding Freeze in place and he's down and out. Ripped to pieces, and they're not done yet. Black again with the Sunder bringing Aggressive down low. This time they do lose the Venge. May lose XY as well as he ticks out to the Fatal Bonds. So this time, VGJ, they do get a couple in return, but they lose Freeze on the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, I don't even feel like that's another smoke, was it? And
it was their own smoke and their own initiation.
They're just chewing through smokes. Like, they're the ones getting the jump. That needs to go a lot smoother for them. They need to be coming out on top when they make those plays. Not killing the Alk. He turns it around. He's got a Yasha now. Not killing any core hero, just getting both supports. That's not worth it at all. That's another big failure of a smoke gank, even though they get a 2 for 2.
Yeah, interesting as well with the pace that this game's gone. RTK actually opted to go back for the mech as well. Yeah. But at the same time, we're seeing these smokes. I mean, he was down bottom. He did end up coming across the mid, but it was a little bit later than the rest, so was not in position to pull anything off with a Ravage. So still kind of looking for RTK to get himself more stuck into the team plays that VGJ are trying to pull off, because they certainly seem to be understanding that the threat that Faceless have is getting bigger and bigger with this Alchemist being exactly where Alk hopes to be. 14,000 net worth, the highest being of VGJ's. This Lifestealer Aggressive hitting onto 8. 6k difference at 19 minutes in is textbook for the Alchemist.
Yep. This is all according to the plan. The Batrider pickoffs just aren't going to work if Venge is in position for the swap saves. Earth Spirit, XY is being on point as well with his counter initiations. And this time around, it's Faceless saying, let's smoke towards our Alk. Let's fight around the fact that he's incredibly strong. Alk now a bit more team fight ready, is going to be the one creating space for TB in a sense, but they find Fenrir mid. Easy pickoff and possibly a ability to transition into a tower or objective off of this with the TB, but TB's not really in the best spot for it, so just a casual pickoff. You don't really mind if you're Faceless and you use a smoke and you catch a support and you don't get much because you're the team that's got the better late game, you're farming better. You're winning the farm battle right now. It's VG Gaming who have to achieve tons when they make these big moves.
Ice. Invis Rune. And ready for the setup. Towards the mid he heads. RTK. Bit of a big target. being the Titan with the mech. And the damage to deal with him. Ice just goes in with a little bit of a tickle. And they're not going to go fully in for that one. They're actually positioning themselves down bottom where Jabs has brought the lane around. And they'll look to try and do something about this tier 2. Black, the whole team in the neighborhood. Metamorphosis at the ready. VGJ, though, do have their ultimates for this defense.
They sound scary, but Jabs will be getting swapped out. FY gets scouted as well.
In fact, XY straight on the backlines with the boulder smash onto the bat as well. They're ready to fight. Freeze goes for the pull, bringing XY down low. Chaotic Offering will be enough to finish him. They'll find one kill here, VGJ, but they need something more. Ice just holding them back here with the blue split, allowing Black to finish the tier 2 off. Can he get himself out there? That's the question, Ice. Already the rest of FL starting to escape, and indeed he's fine. Holds one back with the Wind Panda. Quick with the blink out. Freeze is going to go forward. Does have the Lifestealer inside him. And in fact, they may just get Ice. The swap will be there from Nuts, trying to give Ice the space to escape. And he's only just gone and done it. Nuts giving his life there to save the Panda. Very, very admirable play. And at the end of the day, VGJ may have got the kills, but they're losing the tower. And again, they're not killing Black. They're not killing Jabs.
Yeah, it seems like the biggest issue is this. Yeah, not killing the core heroes there. It's, I mean, a better fight than the last. They at least get a 2-0.
They do get the Bloodstone charges, of course, which is good for Freeze, as he just picked that up before that team fight.
That was better from them, but it's still not like a swing their way. It's like a small little nudge in their favor. And it's still a big concern with how well. I mean, Alchemist, as soon as that fight breaks out and it's not looking good, he's like, all right,
time to farm.
I'm TP'd out. Time to farm, yep. It's just the Brewmaster who, sets him up to get the tower, and then there's an easy escape for the 2 carries. Brewmaster had a bit of a tougher time, but Nuts being the admirable support helped save his life.
A bit careful here. I mean, XY in the neighborhood. We'll look for a setup onto Freeze. I guess Black, without the Metamorphosis, the damage may be lacking. And yeah, they're not going to go for that because mid lane, in fact, that's where the danger is for Faces, because Ice gets caught out. FY and aggressive coming in with the lasso and Lifestealer surprise combination. Quick TP from XY, gets himself away before Freeze can get the lock on. And Black is straight into the trees, TPing out as well, getting himself back to safety. But a nice pick off for VGJ, getting Ice, who has been causing them some massive issues this game.
Yep. Pesky hero for sure, and taking him out will be handy as far as freeing up some space, but now you need to use that space to find additional pick-offs, objectives, take a roach, take some towers, and Lamp's not really the most geared up for pushing down towers just yet. Perhaps with the AC on the lifesteal, he can frontline a bit better and not just melt to the TB right-click damage, but Alk is getting scarier and scarier. He's going to go for the Shivers Guard before the Octarine, or at least gets the Plate Mail. So it looks like he's queued up the Octarine, but just bought a casual Plate Mail. I like this approach. The armor is definitely going to help a lot against the Lifestealer, so you don't just get melted in a stun combo.
Top lane aggressive and RTK do need to be careful. Faces are making a straight beeline for them. RTK realizes he's straight out with the TP and aggressive as well.
Swap is there.
With the raised TP out, indeed, that is not going to be safe enough for this Lifestealer. They've caught him out. They've brought him down. An aggressive out for 50. A big kill for Faceless, and again, just maybe not expecting the Venge to be there with the rest of the team.
Picks up the bounty room, but coming back for Roche with the acid spray, I imagine.
And they've got DD on Black as well, so this is going to be a very, very quick Roshan.
Man, they've got Ravage Rock.
They're being so careful, Faceless.
Have to. 28 seconds on Lifestealer.
Oh, with FY being caught out on the sidelines, Black knows that it's safe to go back in as the rest of his team force FY to force himself out of there.
FY could go for a cheeky little play here, but there is no stopping this Roche going down. And yep, Jabs will get it. That is bad news for VG Gaming.
And they're moving on to try and see if they can find something into the mid lane. But on the sidelines, it will be Freeze, instantly picking off the fence. Jabs heading up with the concoction onto ROTK. But again, they're not going to move in for more. Faceless still happy with the overall arc of that play. Getting the Aegis, losing Avenge, they'll certainly take that.
Meta's wearing off, so it's definitely time to back off, not take any fights into what is pretty scary teamfight ultimates from VG Gaming. So you don't mind fighting them if you've got like Alchemist ready to go, Metamorphosis and TB in a good position, but without those factors happening, you're going to just dodge those fights. Ice going to have a Vlad soon, which is a great item to beef up both Alchemist and TB. The lifesteal bonus damage, fantastic teamfight item, and I feel like they're going to really hit their peak with this next Alchemist item pickup, be it the Shivers or the Octarine Core, and then combine that with the Vlads, the TB push. he's going to have a BKB, and they may find themselves with this Aegis even theoretically threatening to go high ground.
Well, there we have it. As you mentioned, the completion of the Vlads. I mean, what is the best play really for VGJ? You know, they want to try and be utilizing this Lifestealer Storm combination, but it seems that each time that they go in with it, Faceless are always ready to respond.
Yeah, they need to stop playing a pick-off game, which is, I think they're just going around as 5 too much. They need to recognize that, hey, we're being out-farmed, they're a lot stronger than us. We can't just try and brute force down lanes. Use the Storm Lifestealer, get the Orchid up, find some picks. Start using Ravagers for solo kills if needed, if you can find them. And it's going to, anytime there's 5 missing from the map, Faceless are adapting and playing around that. So I think you have to just change your approach if you're VG Gaming. Be a little bit more unpredictable.
On top lane, Faceless grouping up, ready to push in. They have Metamorphosis. May very well save it for something a little bit bigger than just this tier 1, and indeed, that tier 1 will fall down with relative ease.
They're going to just melt towers here. Aggressives around this tier 2, suggesting they want to defend, but no, pings go back. They're going to smoke up and try and fight this. Elk is not the target when they're going with the Aegis, though.
They need a big jump. They need something absolutely massive to kick this one off. Indeed, look, FY, straight for the backliners. He'll see XY. He's actually going to go for Black here, dragging him in, close and personal to Jabs. There's the Chaotic Offering into the Ravage. He catches 4. It's beautiful for VGJ. They've taken Black, they've taken Nuts, and they also bring down XY. Perfect execution from the side. Jabs and Ice will get out, but FY doing exactly what was needed, grabbing Black, dragging him in close to Jabs so that the perfect setup was there for ROTK to hit the Ravage that they've been waiting for all game.
Yeah, Venge was desperately trying to swap and prevent that lasso from happening. It looked like he was trying to swap FY there rather than swap saving the TB, and FY was further away because FY is pulling him towards the tower. I think the TB was in range to swap out, but Batrider was not, and because it was just a level 1 swap, he couldn't quite get it off. He now buys his tome, so he gets his level 12. If he hit level 12 there, I think it's a very different fight. You save the TB with the swap, he sunders, your Alchemist on the front line has an Aegis, you win the fight. So the difference there was literally half a level of experience on the Vengeful Spirit between winning and losing that fight, because that swap into Sunder would have just been the end of that for VG Gaming.
Of course, Freeze continuing to be happy with the way that this game's gone since his Bloodstone pickup, up to 18 charges, Orchid complete as well.
As good as that fight was, you now don't have those 2 big ultimates, and Faceless have everything. They didn't commit Metamorphosis, Black just died, and they have Aegis, so they can go high ground here. They may just go straight for the high ground.
Such a long time. Well, there's 70 plus seconds for both ults.
This is how you take advantage of long cooldown ultimates. Yeah. Brewmaster split ready to go. Everything is online.
What can they do about these ults? They do have the grab, obviously, from the lasso. At the same time, it's going to be very hard to pull off with Nuts in the position that he is, as you mentioned, with that second level in the ultimate now. So they may even just have to let this go. RTK will jump forward. Freeze as well, looking for some sort of a catch with the zip forward, but he's not going to get it. The splits out from Ice. They're just focusing the objectives here, Faceless. Onto the racks, they'll clean it up. Freeze will jump forward. Black swapped out just in time. Do they have follow-through control? They've got the silence, but Black's there with the Manta. The Sunder immediately onto the Storm Spirit. He's back up to full health. They turn towards a second. Faceless bring out FY. And ROTK sent on the retreat back towards the fountain. As the Illusions sit there, do a fair bit to the range racks, but they get what they came for. They get the melee racks, they get an FY kill, and that Storm as well, knocking Freeze's charges back down to 12. And exactly as you said, just coming into that one, we're really seeing that VGJ are so reliant on having these ultimates with the position that they're in to be able to deal with Faceless.
Yeah, you can put together that beautiful hold at top and make a great team fight, but as soon as those respawns come up, we're at that stage where, and that's where I like that Faceless went aggressive with that Aegis, because later on in the game you don't have, once your heroes go higher level, if your TB is like level 20 to 25, he doesn't respawn fast enough to take advantage of those long cooldowns. It's actually interesting kind of thing about Dota is that like when you versing these long cooldown ultimates, it's like the 20 to 30 minute stage of the game where you can abuse those cooldowns. At 50, 60 minutes, a Ravage cooldown to get a kill isn't a big deal because those heroes are dead for 80, 90 seconds, which pretty much match up to the cooldown. So by the time you respawn as a carry in the late game, a Ravage is back online. But here with a level 15 TB, he respawns much faster and able to exploit those cooldowns.
I mean, if you're your VGJ, I guess you want to use those cooldowns fighting on their side of the map. So
yes.
You've got to win the fight, of course, in the first place. But at least when they come back, they've got to pressure the lanes back out rather than being in an opportune position to shove the lanes up to the high ground.
I think it's one of the other weak points of their draft. They don't have good heroes to push out the lanes. Because if they use those ultimates at tier 2 top tower, but they're able to shove out mid lane, shove out all 3 lanes in response to winning that fight, then that's fine. Like, they respawn, they've got to deal with the lanes. Maybe you have a hero that can, like, creep skip the mid lane. None of their heroes... I guess Storm clears waves okay, but he just wasn't really in the position to do so or didn't want to risk his life to go for it, considering he's against, like, an Earth Spirit, Avenge. And there are some troubling heroes to try and split push against. Well, Shrines have opened up, although it doesn't look like Faceless feel content to go for any just yet, knowing that those ultimates are back online.
Jab's very close to the Shiva's Guard. And after the Octarine, a few hundred, and the Mystic Staff will be done.
And then we start seeing the Ag Scepters getting pulled, probably. That's kind of where you hit that. And the one thing you normally see is like the Armlet replaced by BKB, but if you don't feel like the BKB's essential early on, you pull at some Ag Scepters first.
Ag Panda could be certainly nice. Ice has been so kind of useful in these fights with the, getting the extra duration and stuff.
Venge could be kind of sick too. Like,
sure.
You initiate the swap, you die, and then you still have a swap to save against Batrider. Like, I guess you're looking at a support, so you kind of you normally prioritize cores first. So the brew seems like the bigger deal, but
I mean, even giving what to TB, so he's got a bit of extra stat padding, getting Black a little bit more of a chance to sunder off. Let's see what the plan will be though. 16 to 17, definitely close in terms of kills, but overall, as we're seeing, the certainly weaknesses of VGJ's draft with this Tide and Warlock combination, with those long cooldowns, certainly becoming evident when Faceless themselves. There's just, I mean, I guess the Metamorphosis is a long cooldown that they kind of move around, but at the same time, we're seeing that they can fight without it, really. They have enough ways to get in on the front lines, and Black still has a fair amount of pushing power without the Metamorphosis up.
Yeah, they can push into like the no ultimate. Metamorphosis isn't a big deal if Tide and Warlock don't have ultimates, for example. So see what the next move is going to play. It feels like VG Gaming need to be the ones being the aggressors, but that's not the case. They're sitting back and waiting, and I feel like that's perhaps going to be to their downfall. FY loses his blink to the Radiance.
Oh my goodness, he forces away. Ice is there with a jump and the clap. Aggressive turns up, looks towards Ice, but the BKB's out. FY caught and controlled. And can they actually finish him off, though? Will make his way across the tree line, but there's the Wind Panda setup. They'll hold the bat back. They're looking for the bigger kill, of course. They want to get aggressive, and they'll get him no problem at all. RTK turning up on the high ground, but again, the Wind Panda from Ice just throwing the Tide up in the air, allowing FL to look for more on the back lines. They try and get freeze, but the BKB's out with the Orchid, turning towards XY, but he can't quite finish it. The stun's there, and RTK gets the Ravage out. Will kill XY, but it doesn't matter. Faceless picking up the double kill on Black, and they're ready to move in and do some structural damage almost certainly as well. Look at the slow onto Fenrir, but they just focus the mid-range racks. They'll clear those out. Tier 2 still standing on the top lane, but the bottom one's gone, so the Tier 3's open. And again, I've got to say, Ice's Panda player has been some of the best we've seen in a while.
Black did a good job holding his BKB till the Tide Ravage was being cast. He pops it to dodge it, and Ice's Brew just constantly cycling people up, being a complete menace. And
here's one of the big ults coming out. They need something massive to happen with it. Are they going to get it? It doesn't look like it. They've dropped Chaotic Offering, but FY's the one in trouble. Oh, the Shrine keeps him alive. They do kill Nuts.
They saved him the racks.
And in fact, with Freeze, he's got to clean up. He's a little low on the mana. BKB's come out on Ice Freeze. He knows he needs to find kills. He's not going to be able to. Jabs able to TP away. Black into the sidelines. He'll get away undiscovered as well. So they stop the push at least with the use of the Chaotic.
Drop a rock, pop some shrines. They didn't have to use any buybacks, which is kind of nice. And Freeze does maintain a pretty good level of Bloodstone charges staying on 14, but still feels like it was scrappy. They lost Lifestealer. His item progression has completely fallen off. He's nowhere near the MKB, doesn't have buyback. We'll find a DD for Roche. I say for Roche. That'd be a Roche without your ultis. Even if Roche was there, I don't know if you go for it without Ravage and Rock. And Bruce Split's come back up. It's a pretty nice and shorter cooldown compared to the Warlock and the Tide at 100 seconds. Looking at 150 on Tide and 165 on Chaos Offering. Massive cooldowns compared to the Brew Split. And that's a problematic scenario for VG Gaming.
What can they do with? I mean, they're heading over as if they want to try something, but as you mentioned, the ults aren't there for VGJ. Maybe going for a bit of a bait play. They'll go straight in looking for XY, but XY gets the roll off in time. They'll turn towards Jabs. BKB out for Freeze. Zips across. Wants to get the quick kills first, and he will. He'll take down the Earth Spirit. And they have lost FY in return, but Nuts is going down. Freeze picks up a double. Now's the time for Ice to play with the ultimate. And again, when Panic Control onto one, ROTK will be sort of left behind. They'll try and walk it off. He's fairly tanky here, but of course with the boulder flying through from the Earth Panda, the damage bringing him low. He does get a chance to Ravage. He probably will tick out here, trying to keep himself alive. In fact, with his Shadow Word, he may just do so. No. Black's there with the Metamorphosis, takes down ROTK, finds a second. Storm has to kill himself. And Faceless, they've done it again with this team fight. It's VGJ trying to do something without the Chaotic Offering, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Tough. They felt like if they give up an Aegis, they're going to lose a Rax, which is probably true. But at the same time, losing that fight, same result. They're going to lose a Rax. They kind of went for the let's put our fate in our own hands and at least go for a fight approach. Taking a fight there without Ravage, without Rock. The Ravage came up just a bit too late in the fight. They didn't have it at the start, and well, they're going to lose the fight. Faceless can't necessarily fall back and take Aegis right away. Well, there's 30 seconds on life steal, so they may feel confident. They're taking out Shrines to stop the TPs in. God, let's say that was an insane TP if he went for. He doesn't actually have all the vision around the Shrine, but losing this Shrine means when Lifesteal and Tide TP, they can't actually TP to the Rosh, and Rosh will drop incredibly fast, so looks like this will be a straightforward claim. And yeah, Alk has upgraded, replacing the armor. Goes for the AC, not the BKB. Opting for more armor against the Lifesteal. At this point, Lifesteal is going to do no damage. He tickles the Alchemist. Same for the TB. Another massive armor hero, has evasion. Both of those heroes with evasion. You've got the evasion in the sense that Alk has Radiance. It's not a lifestealer that can be effective in fights.
Yep. And here comes the push. Once more from Faceless, potentially. Ultimate status. It's still that Ravage, of course, down 40 seconds. They have got a Chaotic Offering. And we just see how much the Fatal Bonds can do in these teamfights with Freeze zipping around targets. And, managing to pick off XY and Nuts, the two supports. The cores are still the massive issue. Yep. There we have it. What can VGJ do? Their tier 3 starting to melt. Jabs and Black up to the high ground. Aggressive, caught out by the Shiva's Guard. ROTK actually blinking to the midst of it all, trying to slow them down with an Anchor Smash. But Black,
he's just holding
Jabs
his
illusions.
Yeah.
What can they do? Freeze. Looking for the backliner straight away, but immediate concoction comes out. In fact, in the boss match with a 4-man Chaotic Offering. ROTK moving into position, but still 5 seconds before the Ravage is available. They have found Nuts, but freezes down. Jabs takes down the Storm Spirit. ROTK on his way back up to the high ground. They've lost the melee racks. No freeze for 40 seconds. Still have that Ravage. Ice is out in the Brewlings. He'll jump forward. ROTK still holding on to the ultimate. Jabs. Up into the air, aggressive, falling low, tries to turn his target towards Ice, but GG is called. It's all too much at the end of the day, and those long cooldown ultimates just really being punished by Faceless. They just timed the pushes, the sieges perfectly.
Yeah, and just, I think the farm game as well was won by them. They were able to completely keep Lifestealer out of the game with how far ahead Jabs got, and even Black just as a counter to the Lifestealer. It never really felt like aggressive was a big threat. And a lot of that came down to the failed smoke ganks. If those FY Blink smoke ganks with his Batrider were a bit more effective, it would have been a very different game perhaps, but Faceless played it well. Ice, very impressive controlling heroes on his brew. Another
hero that when you're trying to ban Ice is you've got to bear in mind, it feels. It's brew play. Very, very strong indeed. Very, very impressive micro. And Black, as you kind of mentioned early on in the game, refreshing to see him. He's showing us that he's willing to do both styles of play, whether it be sit back, farm, just stick in the jungle, which obviously, as we saw in Game 1, didn't have too much effect, but then adapting it here in Game 2 and just really getting stuck in with the team. Pretty much with the Manta BKB and Dragonlance picked up at the start as his first few major items, gearing him up for the fights. And aggressive, he just fell off so hard. We saw him get the AC, Deso, and Armlet, but then there was just no progression after that.
Yeah, when you go for those Infest ganks, you're relying on your carry Batrider to find kills. And I feel like it wasn't so much that aggressive fell off or played badly. It was more, if anything, you look at FY as the guy leading those ganks and wasting aggressive time where he could have been farming. He could have gone for a Midas game. He could have played the farming game, but VG Gaming made a team call like, nope, we're not going to farm. We're going to try and fight them, find picks, use this Blink Dagger. Tide goes for the mech so they can try 5-man push a bit better, and it didn't work. They got turned around on some really nice swap saves from Nuts a couple of times, and yeah, it was definitely a game VG Gaming could have won with their draft. I don't feel like they got out-drafted. The Elk was definitely a problem letting in free farm, but they had potential answers if their mid-game was more successful.
Absolutely, but there we have it. Another draw coming out in the action in the groups here between the two sides as Faceless are able to secure themselves that second game. And of course, going back to their first game, VGJ did have the superior play. That's it for this our second series of the day here on the second stream. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have more action for you right around the corner here and also on the main stream. So stick around for more coverage. The DAC group stage is coming to you live from Shanghai.